When you look at the US economy, you know that there are many issues that need to be dealt with. Breaking it down further, you can see that each state has its own list of problems and also positives. Well, it looks like the debt load right now in California, which has been created by the Fed, has resulted in an exodus from the state. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. This is a continuation of other videos I have done before, talking about where people are leaving and where they are going to. And today we're going to have our focus on California. So let's begin. First, I want to show you the median statewide home prices. California at the top of the list, $549,000. This is as of April 2018. You can see that it is significantly higher than Texas, Arizona, Nevada. So these areas are significantly more affordable when you're looking at real estate prices, which have come up quite a bit since they hit rock bottom during the housing crisis. I want to show you this article here. It tells a lot. It's out of Market Watch. Over 1 million more people moved out of California from 2006 to 2016 than moved in, due mainly to the high cost of housing that hits lower income people the hardest. And that's really a trend that has been going on not just here, but this is one place that it has been quite obvious. A strong economy can also be dysfunctional. Housing costs are much higher in California than in other states, yet wages, that's the key, for workers in the lower income brackets aren't. And the state attracts more highly educated high earners who can afford pricey homes. So if you're working in Silicon Valley, you're able to afford these prices. But if you're a waiter, let's say, that might not be the case. And a lot of them are, having to live in places, maybe take on 1 or 2 or 3 roommates, living in dormitory style units. Many of them, unfortunately, are living in their cars or any other situation that has fallen on a lot of these people. There are many reasons for the housing crunch, but the lack of new construction may be the most significant. The average of 24.7 new housing permits were filed for every 100 new residents in California. That's showing us one side, but we're often told about shortages, and that relates to housing very often. I see the same thing in Canada as well. But I do believe that a lot of the so-called shortages that we are told about in commodities, for example, they're really blown out of proportion. And what does that do? Well, ultimately, it pushes the price higher. If you knew that there was subdivisions all around that had, tons of vacancies, would it be positive for the pricing? Of course not. It would start to bring them down, but they don't want that. There's construction, there's those in the mortgage lending business, the financial all the financial aspects that go along with it. You have realtors, you have the real estate lawyers and everything else. California homeowners spend an average of 21.9% of their income on housing costs, the 49th worst in the nation. While renters spend 32.8%, the 48th worst. The median rent statewide in 2016 was $1,375, which is 40% higher than the national average. So that is a significant difference in between California and the rest of the US. The median home price was, wait for it, more than double that of the national average. So clearly we see this, but I would definitely like to see a chart and the facts on this, subtracting those areas of California which are extremely high. Because we know areas around San Francisco, maybe LA to a less degree, just subtract them out of the equation and then give me the same statistics. I know that it is quite high, but you can always sort of realize, okay, well, I'm not going to live in Silicon Valley area, and how do the surrounding areas, how are their prices and so on. One coping strategy, California residents are more likely to double up. See, right here, nearly 14% of renter households had more than one person per bedroom, the highest reading for this category in the nation. Coping can also mean leaving. A lot of people have been leaving the state as a result. I showed you the statistics previously. This is a trend that is prevalent in California, and you don't see that as much happening with many other states where the economy is doing well. The wages are correspondent to the pricing of the homes and things, and it just makes me think. I'm gonna get further into detail in this more in a moment, but let me just move on from this. They're going to compare some areas down here. I don't want to get into all the details. This is the actual report itself, by the way. Current state of the California housing market. California has the highest home prices of any state. The median California home price was $266,000, greater than the median home price in the US as a whole. Pretty crazy to see that. You're talking about $266,000, which is oftentimes what a house costs for people in other areas in the US, and it's that much greater. Post-recession housing construction has been slow from 2008 to 2017. An average of 73 new housing permits were issued, far lower than the average of 135,000 permits issued annually. Now, the question I have is, are they keeping these permits artificially low to boost the prices? That remains to be seen. They're going to get into a lot of the same details that I already discussed here. Won't bore you with those. Let me move on. California net domestic migration. You will see what has happened over the years. Many people, unfortunately, leaving, and it seems to be, here in this case, if you're not earning a lot of money, chances are you're leaving the state. What does that mean for the future of California? If this continues, look at it, through 2006 to 2016, I'm sure the numbers have just continued and probably gotten worse from 2016 to current. So we will see that this does impact what's happening there. And then, somewhat related, because it is about California, there's no question that solar power is entering the mainstream, but California is about to give it a big boost. The state's Energy Commission expected to approve new energy standards that will require solar panels on the roofs of nearly all homes, condos, and apartment buildings from 2020 onward. It's an effort to get people to become more energy efficient and so on. I think that this is probably going to benefit a select few companies as a result, which, I'm not really a fan of. I don't know how this is all going to work. If you can just get any manufacturer, if you can just get, there's not going to be many restrictions, and then basically they will pay you back the next round of your income taxes. I'm not really sure how it's all going to work, but I'm a big fan of alternative energy, especially in a place like sunny California. This is a place where you can get a lot of energy created with less panels. If you're in an area where you're not going to have that much sun, then you're going to need a lot more panels. That means a lot more rooftop space or backyard space or wherever you're putting these. Then what do you do about storing the energy? Well, you need a battery. And so these batteries, of course, are quite expensive. These are all costs associated with building a new home or upgrading the home or anything like this. But also at the same time, some people may say, I don't want to give somebody a rebate. I don't want to do solar panels. So therefore, why should I pay for somebody else to get solar panels? I totally see both sides of the argument here. I think you as an individual, no matter where you live, you should be looking at some sort of alternative energy. If not just for a backup, then you should also look into it to be more self-sufficient. So whether that is geothermal, solar panels, wind, there's a lot. And I even think that getting batteries to store energy in the event that the lights go off, I think that's a positive thing. It's expensive, there's no doubt about that. In fact, the power just went off here in Toronto, in the area I was living, so the power went off. And suddenly you realize how much you are dependent on electricity. Everything. It affects so much, so quickly. And although it was only a couple hours, it really makes a profound change. So I think that people don't realize it until it's gone. So this is very key. You should definitely be thinking about this. Okay, retired Americans who are down on their luck are moving out of the country to stretch their savings and Social Security income. They are moving to different places around the world. You're looking, what they suggest down here anyway. I've seen more, but Panama, Belize, Uruguay, and Malaysia. And Uruguay is actually an interesting one because it is recommended in many different circles. Seeing that, over the years it's really been reformed. There's a lot of peace there for the most part, considering that there's a lot of tension happening in the rest of South America. It seems to be one place that I've heard from many different sources that it is good. Now, that's not saying it's perfect, and no place is perfect. I mean, look how many cities around the world, major metropolises, are unsafe. It's actually very common. When you look at a country like Uruguay, it has areas around there that are very nice climates. They're very friendly in general, and they're cheap. And so people are moving out. They're moving out of the state. They're moving out of the country. They want to stretch their dollars, and they know that this is not something that they would probably love to do. It's difficult to be able to move out, especially to a new country, and especially if you don't speak the language in that country, the primary language. So this is a big, tough decision for a lot of people, but think about what that means for the current situation that people are facing today. I'll leave you with that. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a thumbs up, it helps to support this channel, so I do appreciate that very much. Now, if you found the video informative, I know that you will find my books, The Money GPS, and my newer release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can actually flip through these books. All you have to do is go over to Amazon. There are links in the description of this video. You go over there, you can flip through the pages of the books to see if you like them. Take care.